he gave me a time to call, and I called him and I told him, look, I came here for the first time in my life. I saw a demon in my room. Like, I hear it, I see it on African Magic, but in my room, this is another level of warfare. I need help because I survive on the messages I listen to here. I practically survive. Like, where I stay, there's a lot in the air. So it's not about when I go out. No, there are things floating in the air. Where I live is a complex society. It's complex. Because the things we shout about in Nigeria, you're still free. This kind of prayer you're doing, you can't do it where I come from. You pray underneath your breath. You can't. You'll be arrested. You can't. You can't. Churches don't have choirs. Because it's noise pollution. I know the number of times that I just wish to be able to go back to my school sports center and just shout and pray. But no, there's nowhere to do that. I have to underneath my breath, because if my neighbor hears, they could report me.
Hi Saints, I'm back with another of the Japa tales. This is the last one, I reckon. I love sharing them, not to dampen anyone's zeal to Japa, but to ensure that you have a well-rounded picture of what you're getting into, so that you can be prepared for the type of warfare out there. Watch.
We are blessed with a presence tonight, and it's not just the presence of God. Let me call her my sister. Yes, because she's my sister. By the mercies of God, I have interacted for not up to a year, a few months with, she's God's handmaiden. She has burdens, many of which we also share. This is, so AWCN, please make welcome Mrs. Olufumilayo Olusen. Okay, so you give us the rest of introductions. Did you start following us here? Okay. So she didn't know about us when she was in the country. She picked us from Netherlands, and we're excited to have her present in Ogbomosho today. All right.
Hello. Good evening. My Lord's spiritual and all my brethren. Yes, please sit down. I stand on all pre-existing protocols. I have to say that Reverend Olu set me up because I had no intention of coming to the front. I just wanted to blend in at the back. But everything I did just didn't work. Well, I'm so happy to be here, finally. I stumbled on Reverend Olu last year, 21st September, 2021. I think he had a program in Ibadan. It was titled the RCN Ibadan. Something the waiting, the threshing floor. No, it wasn't the threshing floor, but something about something about a place where you wait. And I listened to the whole series, and it was amazing. So I continued, and then, if you watch someone on YouTube, then their videos keep coming. And I watched a couple of videos, and I thought, okay, I need to listen to this man a little more. And then I searched his recordings, audio messages, and then one after the other, I was consuming it. So I bring you greetings from my husband and from The Hague. So I'm a lawyer, and I'm studying in The Hague in the Netherlands. And I mean, not to bust your bubble, but there are things I experienced in Europe that I found strange. I thought I was a good Christian, I could pray, but I met with some strong things. So I knew that it couldn't be business as usual. And what I knew was not enough to sustain me there. I know everybody wants to travel out, but I advise you that if you want to travel out, you listen to Reverend Tolu and embody the things he says. Because I wish when I were in school that I had something like this. I would have been better prepared for what lies outside. Because everybody is so intelligent and you have your plans and your dreams, but I assure you that your intelligence will not count for anything. Been there, done that. So I started listening to him, and April this year, I was pushed to the wall because I encountered a lot of problems in the Netherlands. Ridiculous problems. I was frustrated. I was totally frustrated. And I'm a very intelligent person. Like, I'm a straight A person, if you understand what I mean. But I was having serious problems. So, someday I listened to Reverend Tolu. I listened to some messages, the purged ones, 1 and 2. After the second one, I was like, okay, let me check this. This man must have somewhere, some, social media. So I got on Facebook. I saw a number, and then I thought, maybe I should call this number, but I've never done this before. So I kept dilly-dallying. I'd try, I'll stop, I'll try. I'm like, okay, you can only die once. And what's the worst that will happen? Maybe the number doesn't go through, or maybe he doesn't respond. And it's not the end of the world, but I was a desperate woman right there because I needed someone who could understand what I was going through. So I sent a text, and to my greatest surprise, he responded. So I thought, wow, like, people who talk like this, like, you have to cut through so much protocol before you get to them. So I was like, okay, it's my lucky day. I can push my luck, So I texted, I introduced myself, and then he gave me a time to call, and I called him, and I told him, look, I came here for the first time in my life. I saw a demon in my room. Like, I hear it, I see it on African Magic, but in my room, this is another level of warfare. I need help, So, he gave me some advice, sent me some messages to listen to, talked about all sorts of things. I said, Reverend Tolu, excuse me, I just came for degrees. Like, how am I what does this have to do with me? Like, excuse me, I just want a degree and to leave. And he said, look, God smuggles himself, through different opportunities. And this was how I started to follow the services. So I actually started to follow the services around April. And I can tell you that between April and now, like, my life has changed so dramatically. Like, it just takes, maybe sometimes I just send, like, maybe, good evening, sir. How are you? How is the family? How is Reverend Mrs. and blah, blah. And he just says, the Lord bless you. And just like, okay, yeah, I got that for today. So I know, okay, so the day he says, the Lord bless you, all those impossible things, I quickly attempt them. That, okay, there's something for today too. I pray, but you understand, when you have some certain problems, you have to look for somebody that can. It's not everybody. And the more I listen, the more, because I have some background in the faith and all of that, but I realized after listening to him and to Apostle Arome that government, so you can love Jesus, but you may not really hate iniquity. And you can be so good a Christian, but you may not understand government. And if you don't understand government, you will do a lot of terrible things. So I started listening. I cannot tell you how many messages I have I have listened to. There are some that cause constipation because they're hard. So I say, okay, I'll come back to you. Let's put you aside and try the other ones that, and then I go back and I listen. There's some I have to listen 10 times, 15 times, and just keep listening. And it gets easier every day. But so I just want to encourage you that while you're here, while you have him, while he's within your hand's reach, do all you can do to embody what he's saying. Because the world that you think exists is not what I know it looks different to you. But when you hit it, you had better have substance in you. Because it's that substance that will keep you. Because even if you go up, if there's nothing inside, you're coming down. It's the law of gravity. So there must be another law that's at work that is more than the law of gravity. Like the aeroplane, the only reason why it stays in the sky is because gravity doesn't bring it down like it does to every other thing. I just want to say that this house has been a blessing. It's not about just attending, okay, we have something on Sunday and then something on Tuesday. It's organic, it's real, it's something you can apply, and then you have a leader that has constrained himself. Believe me, constrained, because those of us who listen to him, at least, I know I look young, but I've been out of school since 2008, and I read law, so it wasn't a 4-year course. We know when someone is constraining himself so it's more like being made poor so that you can be made rich, so that you will know that at some point you will also be made poor so that he can be made rich. It's like that. Because I survive on the messages I listen to here. I practically survive. Like where I stay, there's a lot in the air. So it's not about when I go out. No, there are things floating in the air that you need to constantly be up there. You cannot afford. I remember I moved to a room and I was stressed up in that period. I called Reverend Tolu. I said, Reverend Tolu, please pray for me. Because I knew that there was warfare, and he prayed. I don't know if I should even share the details. There was a potted plant in my room, and I knew something was about it, and I told him about it, that I'm stressed out. I have not been praying really because I was doing a lot of movement and all of that. I'm glad to tell you that the plant withered away. So I told him, Pastor Tolu, Reverend Tolu, you withered the plant, But I'm just trying to say that HWCN has been a blessing. Like, I'm practically waiting every Sunday for the service and waiting every Tuesday for the service, because where I live is a complex society. It's complex. Because the things we shout about in Nigeria, you're still free. You can look at someone and say, oh, hello, and say she's a girl, and say her, he. Where I live, you don't call someone a pronoun until you are sure if they are male or female. Like, looking at them is not enough to know. So if you're living in that kind of society, it's a battle of wisdoms. And you can be rounded up if you just, this kind of prayer you're doing, you can't do it where I come from. You pray underneath your breath. You can't. You'll be arrested. You can't. Churches don't have choirs because it's noise pollution. I know the number of times that I just wish to be able to go back to my school sports center and just shout and pray. But no, there's nowhere to do that. I have to underneath my breath, because if my neighbor hears, they could report me. So you have an opportunity, and to grow as much as you can grow enough to sustain you for many, many years, because you will need it. Unfortunately, well, I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, our own world, it wasn't this complex. But now you're going to have to deal with gender, you're going to have to deal with especially those of you who want to travel. The structures you are used to don't exist. They don't exist. You'll be confused, I assure you. And as much as I know that everybody wants to leave Nigeria, some of us want to come back. Because there's freedom here, There's freedom, and the problem is just here. It's just here. Once you overcome what is here, this is the place, Because those places, they do a lot of branding. There's a lot of packaging. They tell you what they want you to think. Those of us that are living there, we know what it is, So our greatest dream is how we can actually come back and do things here. And Reverend Tolu is doing an amazing job. Like, I cannot tell you the number of messages I already have saved. It's like a diet. So you finish one, continue another one, finish one, continue, because I feel like I have so much to catch up with, and there are lots of loose ends, and there are things he might not repeat again. So it's up to me to grow. And the growth I have experienced between April and now, I can't even begin to measure it. Like, the past 10 years, I've not even grown that much. And I was going to church, I was praying, but he gives you stuff for growth, for stability, so you can stand. I don't know any Christian where I am. That's the truth. He told me that I should get a prayer partner. I said, Reverend Tolu, that's the problem. Where to get that prayer partner? Because everybody around me is doing yoga. They are Buddhists, Hindus, atheists. There's no prayer partner. There's nothing like that. He said, is it that the person doesn't have to be a strong Christian? I said, I'm not talking about a strong Christian. I'm just talking about the one that just at least acknowledges that there's a God. No, we're not talking Jesus, so Jesus, that's far. Just that there's even a God. But when you say God, it's like, you're so ancient, God. Like, excuse me, like, God. What's that? You know, like when you say God, angels, they're like, what's that? I'm like, But you people brought this thing, so you have an opportunity, is what I'm trying to say. An opportunity that you should seize. You will never have this kind of time again, ever. Never ever. Is it when you are going to work at 8 o'clock, and if you are lucky to be in Lagos, means you left at 5:30 and you're coming back home at 10:30? Where is the time? There's no time. So if you don't get anything here, I'm sorry for you. Because your own generation is double the trouble. What is waiting for you outside is double. So it's better you are solid. Like where I am, I know that there are some basic things that can't even come near me. But I faced certain things that were beyond my pay grade, if you understand what I mean. Yeah, because if you've never seen a demon before and it appears in your room, then you know that's beyond your pay grade. You need to look for somebody who is skilled in such things. And God was gracious, to lead me to Reverend Tolu. And it has been a growth curve since then. As long as you are sincere, even if the thing hits you, if it doesn't sit well, but you just, okay, maybe I will keep listening till I can make the adjustment. I think that's the attitude. So I'm so blessed to be a member of this house from afar, yeah. And I'm so blessed to be able to come physically. I assure you, this is how it always starts. It always starts like this. It starts like, okay, we're all just here. And before you know it, you'll be looking at Pastor Tolu like, Pastor Tolu, remember? It's going to be, so if you have access now, there's proximity, everything is here for you. So don't just get the grades. We got the grades, we got all the 2-1s and thought, let's just storm Lagos. What we met outside was something else, because for the girls, then you get a job offer that says that, okay, you need to pay this amount to get the job. It's a screening process, because when you pay that amount and you get into the office, it won't be money anymore. You're going to pay in kind. And if you sleep with one boss, you're going to sleep with all. Yes. So this is the deal that you're going to face. And for the guys, I don't even know who is easier for, whether it's the boys or the girls. But I'm just trying to say that if you embody the things he says now, even if they're hard, even if they're tough, just embody those things before you leave, so that you're not living with just grades. I'm telling you, you will be standing. You will not need to call for help until you meet something that is beyond your pay grade. Because I met it. I met it last year, so I needed to reach out, and I'm so happy I did. So thank you so much for listening to me. Bye. God bless you. And thank you to Reverend Mrs., because she cooked me a nice meal.
So I hope we're encouraged, and we're blessed too. Amen.
The barrister Mrs. Esquire has said everything. I like how she highlights the fact of our freedoms here in Nigeria. We often tear this country down whilst looking to the West as the accurate symbols of freedom. But we don't know that we have a lot here to be grateful for. 1. The ability to say what we think without it being labeled any of the many phobias. I also like her admonition to grow deep roots spiritually, so you're not crying out for help when you land in the abroad. If you have a spiritual father or mentor, now is the time to take what they say seriously. Don't just jump from meeting to meeting, from sermon to sermon. Do business with the messages you hear. Take your relationship with the word seriously. Pray, gain stature, collect power. Collect power so that you will do to demons what the missionaries who came to this land did to the demons here. Because no deceive yourself, witchcraft is everywhere. It's just that in some places, it's still they wear makeup. I trust this was insightful and practical. Do you live abroad? Do you have stories like this? Let's chat in the comments. Thanks for watching.
God's mighty right hand, He's upon us. He's upon us. He's upon us. Scepter of the city. He's upon us. God's mighty right hand. He's upon us. Scepter of the cities. He's upon us. The Holy Ghost. Holy Ghost. Scepter of the sea. He's upon me. The Holy Ghost. He's upon me. Scepter of the city of God. He's upon me. Holy Ghost. He's upon me. The seal of the age to come. He's upon me. Holy Ghost. He's upon me. Holy Ghost. He's upon me. Seal of the age to come. He's upon. Holy Ghost. He's upon. Scepter of the city of God. Shagadeva Kota. He's upon me. God's mighty right hand. He's upon me. Seal of the age to come. Prophesy over yourself. He's upon us. Holy Ghost. He's upon us. Scepter of the city of God. He's upon me afresh. God's mighty right hand. He's upon me. Seal of the age to come.